So imagine a cube 6 miles across, deep and high, and that's how much lava came out.
In the vast western part of the U.S., a hidden beast lies dormant, a sleeping monster that occasionally stirs. For almost 70,000 years, it has slumbered. But experts like Peter Doocy fear its eventual awakening. If it does, it might just be a cataclysmic event that could reshape our world dramatically. Recently, the Yellowstone National Park monitoring system detected an extraordinary occurrence, a sudden 250% surge in activity. This news has spread, sparking both fear and curiosity across the globe. What does this mean for Earth's iconic national park? Is the mighty Yellowstone supervolcano stirring from its long rest? Join us as we delve into Doocy's warning and the emergence of a 100-foot-wide crack in the Yellowstone volcano. An exceptional event is taking place, and little do you know about the astounding findings unearthed by researchers. Situated in the heart of the United States lies Yellowstone National Park. This treasure has captivated hearts across the globe since its opening in 1872. Encompassing a vast expanse of 3,472 square miles, stretching across 3 states, it is a testament to nature's raw beauty. Every year, nearly 3 million eager souls journey to witness its breathtaking vistas. The park's allure is undeniable, with the famous Old Faithful geyser putting on its awe-inspiring display, hiking trails weaving through lush landscapes, majestic mountain peaks piercing the skies, and soothing hot springs offering solace. Amidst this untouched haven, amazing wildlife thrives, including grizzly bears, stately moose, graceful elk, diligent beavers, and sturdy bighorn sheep. Yet beneath the surface of this paradise lies a ticking time bomb, a force of nature that could spell the end of all. Deep within the earth, the Yellowstone supervolcano slumbers with its massive magma chamber lurking. A catastrophe in waiting, this ominous presence could obliterate the park and its surroundings. The supervolcano, buried miles below the surface, has erupted in the past, but its most monstrous eruption, which occurred about 70,000 years ago, was only a fraction of its potential fury. The catastrophic power of a supereruption is almost unimaginable. Such an event is defined by its explosive might, with an ejection volume of at least 240 cubic miles, enough to bury Texas beneath a 5-foot layer of ash. These supereruptions dwarf any recent volcanic activity we've witnessed, casting a shadow of devastation that shatters all we hold familiar. The urgency is real, and the threat palpable. While the probability of such a cataclysmic event remains debated, its potential consequences loom large. The apocalyptic doom of a supereruption haunts not only the park's visitors, but also those in its vicinity. Beneath the surface of Yellowstone National Park, a fiery turmoil brews. Imagine a scorching realm of molten rock and magma lurking in the depths. This is the heart of the Yellowstone supervolcano. For years, vigilant volcanologists have kept their watchful eyes on this restless giant. Since 1923, they've tracked the changes in the land above the magma chamber, noting its rise and fall. From 2004 to 2009, the ground swelled, a menacing sign of the brewing fury below. A terrifying 9.8 inches of swelling sent shivers through the scientific community. But in 2010, the land began to sink back again. But that's old news. What about right now? Today, experts like the renowned Peter Doocy raise urgent questions. Is this behemoth awakening? The recent unrest in the ground fuels the dread of imminent catastrophe. The ground beneath Yellowstone National Park holds its breath with a fateful tomorrow ahead. What if the very land we walk on begins to shudder and quake? The question looms large as a terrifying uncertainty haunts our thoughts. Apart from activities within the land, we also have to worry about what happens on the land. Just last year, a cataclysmic event shook Yellowstone's core. In the quiet hours of June 13, 2022, a 500-year flood surged through the park. Relentless rain and melting snow gathered in a watery onslaught, drowning the northern reaches with 7.5 to 9.5 inches of nature's fury. The flood wreaked havoc, wiping out roads, erasing paths, and leaving destruction in its wake. The park's resiliency was tested as power was restored, wastewater lines were mended, and a recovery plan took shape within 48 hours. But the scars remained. The roadways had been twisted and shattered by the force of the floodwaters. A south loop, once bustling with life, reopened on June 22, 2022, but not unscathed. The struggle to rebuild echoed in every repaired segment and every reopened trail. And yet, the surface trembles, barely scratching the Earth's fiery heart. Beneath us, an ancient giant stirs. The signs are undeniable, and the warnings are etched in seismic rumbles. As the ground shifts and quakes, scientists watch, heartbeats quickening. The subterranean turmoil feeds chilling speculation. How violent will the eruption be when the time comes? Geologists, those who study the Earth's ancient secrets, find themselves in a race against time to decipher the meaning behind these unsettling occurrences. But here's the chilling truth. Understanding what's unfolding in Yellowstone is like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. The park's remote and rugged expanse has kept its mysteries hidden from prying eyes. No one has witnessed every secret it holds, leaving experts grasping at fragments of the truth. Yet, even amidst this shroud of uncertainty, the Earth itself offers glimpses of its tumultuous history. If we look back in history, we see that Yellowstone has unleashed its fury 3 times in the past 2.1 million years. These colossal eruptions, spaced between intervals of 600,000 to 800,000 years, have scarred the land and reshaped the world. The most recent cataclysm, a staggering 640,000 years ago, left an enduring mark. Its rage spread far beyond the park's borders, blanketing vast stretches of the United States with a shroud of ash, gas, and volcanic debris. From the grandeur of mountains to the serenity of forests, all were consumed by the fury of the Yellowstone supervolcano. The land collapsed upon itself, forming vast depressions known as calderas. And here's a chilling fact. The time when this happened, it unleashed an explosion 1,000 times more powerful than the infamous 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption. Imagine the devastation that claimed lives and wiped out vast areas. Now multiply it, and you're close. Even today, remnants of this cataclysmic event cling to the 30-mile-wide, 45-mile-long caldera. In the eerie-sounding Lava Creek Tuff region, thick layers of volcanic debris bear witness to the unfathomable power that once surged from the Earth's depths. It's a chilling reminder that we're not in control. Here's the gut punch. Geologists have discovered evidence of not just one, but 47 super-eruptions in Earth's tumultuous history. The planet has a habit of shaking us off its back when we least expect it. 26,000 years ago, Lake Taupo in New Zealand bore witness to a super-eruption that forever changed its landscape. But even that is just a whisper compared to the earth-shattering Toba eruption, a colossal explosion that shook the world some 74,000 years ago. These monstrous eruptions stand as reminders of our planet's unfathomable might. The ground trembles, the plates shift, and in the blink of geological time, everything changes. Some say the Toba eruption triggered a grim period of 6 to 10 years known as the volcanic winter. Humanity faced near extinction as crops failed, temperatures plummeted, and darkness blanketed the skies. While not an inviolable rule, super eruptions happen roughly once every 100,000 years. But let's turn our gaze back to Yellowstone. What if the Earth decided to show us its true fury once again? Imagine a minor eruption, one that paints the land with rivers of molten lava and a fiery display. This is the most probable scenario, where earthquakes come in waves and destroy everything in their path. Peter Doocy warns us that this could merely be a prelude before the actual catastrophe strikes. To imagine the worst possible scenario is to imagine a super eruption that is 1,000 times more potent than a typical volcano. This would have a relentless onslaught of magma, enough to bury entire cities under its fiery embrace. A spectacle lasting not just hours, but weeks or even months. The aftermath is apocalyptic. Imagine a torrent of volcanic ash, a nasty mixture of shattered rock and glass, surging into the sky. It blankets the land below as a suffocating shroud smothers all in its path. Scientists warn that this nightmare could grip the northern Rockies in a thick, ashen grip, laying waste to vast swaths of land in Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Montana, and Utah. The heartland, too, would not escape unscathed, as the Midwest faces a grim cascade of ash while the coasts breathe sighs of relief with lesser burdens. Just ash and debris might not sound too alarming at first. But astonishingly, a mere 3 to 4 feet of ash has the power to wreak havoc on everything we hold dear. Our cities, our infrastructure, even our lives. It's a grim reality. Imagine towering buildings reduced to rubble, public transportation brought to a standstill, and countless lives lost in the chaos. The threat doesn't stop there. Even a small amount of ash can spell doom for our respiratory systems, turning the simple act of breathing into a perilous endeavor. As ash blankets the roads, driving becomes a treacherous task, while crops and animals meet their unfortunate end. The scale of the catastrophe is so massive that North America would be forced to ground its airplanes, and the once bustling air traffic would fall eerily silent. Then, we have the preceding earthquakes to think about as well. The number of earthquakes leading up to an eruption serves as an eerie countdown. While Yellowstone National Park witnesses its fair share of tremors each year, they pale in comparison to the violent quakes that herald an imminent volcanic outburst. Evacuation becomes the only option, as the park and its neighboring villages succumb to the unforgiving forces of nature. Lava flows, like molten rivers, become the bleak signposts of destruction. Unlike ash, they can't travel as far, limiting their reach to about 50 miles of Yellowstone National Park. Yet even as this blazing tide of lava scorches everything in its path, it's just one chapter in the apocalyptic story. Unfortunately, the story takes a sudden and chilling twist. As the aftermath of such a colossal eruption darkens the sky, the world experiences an abrupt plunge in temperature. As sunlight struggles to pierce through the ash-laden atmosphere, this is bound to happen. This is when the supervolcano truly becomes world-altering. A single event rewrites the very rules of our global climate. But how does this all play out? Well, when these giants awaken, they release dark and deadly chemicals. Sulfur aerosols, like the harbingers of chaos, burst forth from their fiery depths, drowning the sky in darkness. With each particle of sulfur aerosols, a fragment of sunlight is stolen away as it is reflected into the atmosphere. The consequence is swift and profound. Temperatures start to plummet drastically as the planet is plunged into an icy grip. The specter of a supervolcano looms large, capable of thrusting us into a prolonged winter. A world accustomed to warmth suddenly shivers, agriculture falters, and crops wither in the chill. The landscape transforms, and the apocalyptic whispers of change grow louder. We must return to the molten rocks and magma that the Yellowstone supervolcano inhabits and understand how destructive that can be. Over thousands of years, it has been a mixture of molten rock and dissolved gases that have been quietly gathering beneath the surface. Now, when the pressure grows too intense, the gases will explode through the fractures, propelling the magma skyward. Imagine rivers of scorching hot rock flowing through the once serene park, devouring everything in their path. Now picture this, a layer of molten ash, 10 feet deep, hurtling 1,000 miles from the park's epicenter. The devastation would be beyond comprehension, instantly snuffing out the lives of up to 90,000 people. Even those rushing to help would find themselves powerless, just as they did during Iceland's volcanic fury in 2010. The ash would lock down the Earth's entrances, while the sky would be tainted with gases and debris, stalling the bustling airways. In all these imaginations, the memories of Mount Pinatubo's explosion in 1991 serve as a chilling reminder. Back then, Earth's temperature dropped by a staggering 1 degree Celsius, casting an eerie, cold shadow over the globe. And then there was Tambora, whose eruption in 1815 caused worldwide crop failures, pushing regions into the clutches of famine. Just to bring another event fresh to memory, let's remember the year 1980. The eruption of Mount St. Helens remains vivid, a furious explosion that scattered ash across continents. Ash drifted as far as the heart of the United States, while minuscule particles encircled the globe. But here's the startling truth. That eruption, fearsome as it was, amounted to merely a tenth of a cubic mile of debris. Compare that to the ancient rumblings of Yellowstone, where the Earth's fury once knew no bounds. Millennia ago, the land now graced by Yellowstone National Park witnessed cataclysmic events. Enormous eruptions formed 3 massive craters and calderas, belching forth almost 900 cubic miles of ash and debris. This wasn't just an eruption, it was a reckoning, a spectacle of nature's unbridled might. And today, we cast our eyes to Yellowstone, a ticking geological time bomb. Yet, amid the restlessness of the ground and the rumbles beneath, there are no clear signs of imminent disaster. Earthquakes still tremble beneath the park. The land rises and falls, which is a rhythm familiar to those who study it. The question begs to be asked: are we standing on the edge of annihilation? The statistics, grim and uncertain, paint a portrait of both dread and improbability. According to the experts, the chances of Yellowstone's wrath consuming us in any given year are a mere 0.00014%. Remarkably, that's even lower than the odds of a civilization-ending asteroid finding its mark. Yet here's the haunting truth. Yellowstone operates on its schedule, heedless of our predictions. There's no reassuring pattern, no countdown to the next outburst. One certainty prevails: super eruptions will resurface in Earth's story, wielding destruction in their fiery wake. Will Yellowstone inscribe its name in this fiery saga once again? None can foretell, for beneath the Earth's crust, a battle rages. The magma's yearning ascent clashes with the frigid resistance of the surface, a tug-of-war that's far from over. What's even more alarming is the restless movement of the volcanic hotspot beneath Yellowstone. It's shifting, creeping northeastward, while the North American tectonic plate, like a runaway train, races southwest over this boiling hotspot. These are not mere speculations. The U.S. Geological Survey team has sounded the alarm. In the Journal of Geological Research, Solid Earth, they've documented the rising land within Yellowstone. The urgency deepens as we learn about the land's unsettling behavior. The years 2013, 2014, and 2016 witnessed land uplift and signs of a growing turmoil beneath. This shaking ground is not a random event. It's a delayed reaction to molten rock movements that occurred 2 decades prior. The very heart of Yellowstone, the caldera, is a battleground of molten forces. Its 3 volcanic depressions, the oldest standing for 2.1 million years, and the 2 emerging domes are evidence of its ancient turmoil. But let's put this danger into perspective. The Yellowstone caldera spans a staggering 30 by 45 miles. This size overshadows entire nations like Bhutan, Rwanda, and Puerto Rico. Detecting shifts in such vast expanses is like finding a needle in a colossal haystack. Yet hope is not lost. The ever-watchful eyes of the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory tirelessly monitor the area. Their goal is to catch any sign that the beast beneath is stirring. To judge for ourselves, we can take a look at the prior observations that have unveiled a series of unsettling events. In these observations, experts have noted periods of relentless rising and ominous sinking. These peculiar occurrences form the heart of a bone-chilling article released by the U.S. Geological Survey in 2013, a revelation that ignites a sense of urgency in the very air we breathe. In just 2 years, this region heaved itself upwards by a staggering 5.9 inches. Although it sounds like a seemingly modest figure, it is the most monumental surge ever recorded in the annals of Yellowstone's history. Dubbed as the pyrogenic movement, this eerie undulation has haunted the Yellowstone expanse since the 1970s. Across the last 50 years, the land beneath our feet has undergone a steepening of a total of 28 inches. This relentless turmoil, marked by rapid rises, treacherous dips, and the unsettling symphony of seismic tremors, hints at sinister activities happening within the Earth. Unraveling the dark secrets beneath Yellowstone's surface, intrepid researchers unveil information regarding hidden magma intrusion that unraveled between 1996 and 2001. This subterranean invasion jolted the ground to swell and continued between 2013 and 2014. Yet, even in the face of such dread, these events can be temporarily subdued. A seismic outcry, a magnitude 4.9 earthquake, briefly halted the ascent. But this would not be for long as the restless ground resumed its eerie ascent between 2016 and 2018. And as if the landscape's turmoil weren't enough, Yellowstone's water-related attractions are also ensnared in this apocalyptic narrative. Iconic geysers and once soothing hot springs now bear witness to the unfolding cataclysm. Steamboat Geyser, a once stoic presence, now erupts with an alarming fervor. In 2018, it unleashed its fury 32 times, which was later followed up by 48 violent eruptions in 2019. When we look back at Yellowstone's history, we see a disturbing link between these hydrothermal disturbances and the ominous presence of subterranean magma. The land trembles, geysers roar, and the very earth seems to hold its breath, waiting, watching, and wondering if these sinister spasms are but the prelude to something far more catastrophic. Despite all these bleak images of eruptions, we must remember that that's not what Yellowstone is all about. While many of us might be familiar with the idea of explosive eruptions when it comes to Yellowstone, there's another type of eruption that's equally important, though somewhat less theatrical: the effusive eruption. At first glance, the word effusive might sound less intimidating, but the reality it describes is nothing short of captivating. Instead of a massive explosion spewing ash, debris, and rocks high into the sky, imagine a slow, mesmerizing ooze of bright orange-red lava snaking its way across the landscape. It's as if the earth has opened a vein, allowing its very lifeblood to flow across its surface. During these effusive eruptions, molten rock gently spills out from the earth's crust. This lava, while moving slowly, has a persistent and inexorable force. It gradually rolls across the ground, consuming trees, rocks, and any other obstacles in its path. Picture the sight, the once solid land now covered in a shimmering blanket of red-hot liquid rock. Nighttime scenes during such eruptions can be particularly breathtaking, with the glowing lava illuminating the dark surroundings in a haunting yet beautiful display. However, this isn't a mere spectacle of nature. It's an essential process in the ever-evolving narrative of Yellowstone's geology. Every time there's an effusive eruption, the park undergoes a transformation. The lava, as it cools and solidifies, forms new layers of rock, gradually adding new chapters to Yellowstone's ancient geological story. Over time, these cooled lava flows create expansive plains, hills, and unique rock formations. Beyond just reshaping the physical landscape, these lava flows play a crucial role in the ecological dynamics of the region. As the solidified lava begins to weather and break down, it gives rise to fertile soils. These soils become the nurturing grounds for a plethora of plant species. From these plants, entire ecosystems spring to life. Animals, insects, and birds find new habitats, food sources, and shelter in these transformed areas. For scientists, these effusive eruptions are a treasure trove of knowledge. Studying them provides insights into the Earth's internal processes, the movement of tectonic plates, and the life cycle of volcanic systems. By observing how lava flows and cools, geologists can make predictions about future volcanic activities, not just in Yellowstone but around the world. Additionally, the mineral content of the lava offers clues about the Earth's composition and the forces at play deep within our planet. Understanding effusive eruptions can have practical applications. For instance, in areas where people live close to volcanoes, knowledge about effusive eruptions can help in planning and creating infrastructure that can withstand or divert lava flows. Such knowledge can be invaluable in saving both lives and property. Thanks for joining us. Don't skip the video displayed on your screen. It's unbelievable.